Yo, what's up guys? Hey, welcome back to the channel. Hey, y'all know what to do. If you're new here or you've been here before and you haven't done it already, please go down there, subscribe to the channel, like, comment, share. If you happen to stumble upon this video, feel free to look through my videos. I have a lot of insight information that I believe that a lot of channels don't give you. So if I don't know if you're an older person, you have kids and they're like not knowing what they want to do for a career wise, or there's somebody's looking for a career change. Share my channel. I'm here to help you guys and try to give you the best possible information that we can make a good informative decision to pick a career path, whether it's nursing, physical therapy, radiology as myself. So I'm here to help guys. So on today's video, I always get comments like, hey, do you regret going to radiology? Would you have done something else? Or, things like that. And, I'm gonna be 100% with you guys like I always am. I think that's why people come back, because I always give you the real deal. I don't sugarcoat anything. I try to give you the best possible information. And in the end, I'll give you, I would say three different careers that I feel that I think has better opportunities. So stay to the end, but I'm gonna give you 3 pros and cons on whether I feel like, I regret going to radiology school, okay? So I'm gonna start with the cons first, right? I'm gonna start with the cons first and then we'll go to the good stuff. Everybody wants to hear the bad stuff first, and then we'll go to good stuff. And, we'll get to that point. So con number 1 would be just the registries. The registries alone are hard. So, and I understand the concept behind it. Don't get me wrong. I understand why we have registries. We have to take a registry when you go to school for 2 years for radiology. If you want to go to CAT scan, you have to do another registry for CAT scan. If you want to do MRI, there's another registry for MRI. If you want to do ultrasound, there's like 10 registries for ultrasound you have to take. If you want to get into PACS administration, there's another registry test for PACS administration. So just the registries alone, to me, are tough, because for me, I'm not a good test taker, and to stress about going to school and to stress about wanting to do something different, to stress about taking another registry exam is hard, man, because you're already in the field, and for you to have to go back because you want to cross train in a different modality, to have to go back and to take another registry test is hard. And just an example of how hard these registry tests are, not to push you away from radiology, because anything in life is hard, right? You have to put your work and effort into it. You can pass it, but it's just mentally stressful. So I believe it was like 2010, if you worked in a hospital and you did CT and you weren't certified, JCert was making it mandatory for you guys for us to get certified in CT if we wanted to keep on working in CT. So it made it stressful because I came from a small hospital, which I did both CT and X-ray. So it was stressful for me because okay, if I don't get this within 2 years, I can lose my job, because I have to go to a hospital that can only do X-ray, general radiology or whatever. So it was stressful. So I passed it. I did the work. I put my effort into it, and I passed my CT exam. And then a year later, JCert's like, you know what, never mind, because they had a lot of backlash, because they're like, hey, we've been doing CT for 20 years. We're about to retire in 5 years. We don't want to sit there and sit for another registry, so it's tough, man. So registries are tough. So I say that's a con, because they're hard. Every test is hard. Another con I would say is what I put on here. Yeah, the other con I say is the room for growth as far as management, management growth. For just an example, the hospital I work at the moment, we have we have 3 hospitals and 1 or 2 urgent cares. And for all those facilities, there's only 1 director. One. It's hard, it's hard because it's man, if I ever wanted to be a director, how am I going to get to that level to become a director, even a manager? There's only 1 supervisor, 1 manager. one director for all these 5 facilities. It makes you think like, man, I'm gonna be a tech forever, and the older you get, that's the last thing you want to think about, is being like, man, I have to pull patients when I'm 55 and 40 because I chose this career. I make decent money, but I still have to like do all the backbone work, and it's not easy. It's not always easy to move patients. You don't always have the help that you would like and you need, especially if you're in the modalities like CT and MRI, things like that. Sometimes you're by yourself, especially if you work overnight. It's tough, man, but the growth for management positions is pretty slim. So I say that that's a con, because if you're ambitious and you want to move up, this is probably not the career that you're going to move up fast. I'm not saying it's not possible, because everything is possible, but the positions for that are very slim. Another con that I will say it's a con as far as radiology is that you can only work in certain places. You can only work where there's imaging machines. That's it. You can't work anywhere else. You can only work in hospitals, imaging centers, and some urgent cares that offer x-ray, just general plain x-ray films. Not every x-ray films, but just x-rays, because if you go to, well, in Florida we have like MD Nows and stuff like that. So if you go to MD Now, you can do a general chest x-ray or x-ray of your hand, and that's all the services they offer as far as radiology in those places, but you can work there. So you're limited on where you can work. At the moment, there is a lot of job openings because everything across the board is short-staffed. Everything from nursing to radiology to phlebotomy to PTA to front desk work, everything is short. So the jobs are always there, but you're still limited to where you can work. So those are the cons. Now the pros, it's not all bad in radiology. I won't say it's bad at all if this is your passion. But a good pro that I think is schedule. The schedule is cool, because when you do work in the medical field as far as radiology, you only have to work 3 12-hour shifts. That's it. And you're considered full-time, which means you get benefits, you get 401k, you get all that good stuff the hospital offers. And then you have 4 days off to do what you please. Whether you want to, whatever you want to do, you have 4 days off, which means that on those 4 days off, you can go work in another hospital and be PRN or just pick up hours, or even that same hospital you work at. Like I said, everything is so short that you have 4 days to pick up overtime and make more money if you want, so the schedule thing is pretty cool. So yeah, there you go. And say you go for radiology, right? Hospitals are open 24/7. Say you go for radiology and you're like, you know what, man, this is not what I really wanted to do. I did the research, I went to school, I passed it, but you know what? It's not my passion. It's not something I want to do forever. It's okay. The cool thing about radiology in a hospital is that you can work only weekends. You can work 2 16-hour weekend shifts and be considered full-time, and then be off Monday through Friday, which then gives you and frees you up to pursue something differently. And it's okay. Life is about choices. Life is about going for things that you like and you want, and to try different things. How are we going to find our passion if we don't sit there and try different things? We will never know. And the last thing we want to think of when we get 60 or 70, be like, man, if I would have did this, oh man, I wish I would have did this. You don't want to live in that what if moment. So go for radiology if you think this is for you. If it's not, it's okay. It's not the end. Work weekends, sacrifice your weekends for a year or two. Go to school Monday through Friday and pick something different, and it's okay. And eventually you will get to where you want. And then, and on that, the good note about that too is that you don't put all your eggs in one basket. God forbid something happens and you're like, what, I don't want to do radiology, or I can't do radiology. What can I fall back into? What can I fall back on? And what a lot of people don't understand, and a lot of people don't think, that there's no light duty in radiology. You can't sit there and be like, hey, I had surgery on my knee, boss. I need light duty. There's no light duty in radiology. If you get hurt, God forbid, if you get hurt, you need surgery, you need to be out for 2 months, and you feel better in a month, there's no way you're gonna go back to school with a big old cast in your leg. Back to work and big cast in your leg and be like, hey, I'm ready to make money. They won't let you. So you always want to have that fallback. For me, for instance, I'm thinking about going for a teacher. I want to be a teacher. I'm not saying I want to be a teacher. I don't know if I want to be a teacher, but I did a substitute course, and I want to go, substitute, to see if that will be something I will want to pursue. And the cool thing about teaching is that you don't have to sit there and do anything physically. As long as you show up, even if you're in a wheelchair, God forbid, like I said, even if you're in a wheelchair, you'll get paid your money, because there's no really heavy lifting, heavy duty when you become a teacher. But in radiology, if you get hurt, there's no way you're going to come back and do light duty. There's no light duty here, so that's the only fallback too about radiology. I should have put that in the cons, right? But I had to throw that in there. But yeah, so schedules are pretty cool. And like we said about radiology is cool because you can be diverse. Say you get tired of radiology general. So when I say general radiology, I mean like X-rays, ER, fluoral exams, OR. When you work the C-arm, that's when I say general radiology. So when you get burnt out from there, and you do want to do CT. 90% of the hospitals will cross-train you because they need people. So you can do CT, you can cross-train into CT, you can cross-train into MRI, possibly cross-train into sonography, which would be super cool, So there's options. So diversity in the field is super cool. You can always do something different. The cool thing about radiology, I'm not talking about CT and MRI, just general radiology, is that there's always help, If you yourself work in a hospital, or you decide to go to radiology school, whatever, you had a patient, or you were a patient at one point, or one of your parents, if you sat there and really analyze the room and stuff, you see that every time during the day, there's always 5 to 6 X-ray techs, all the time. And an MRI, there's only usually 1 MRI, possibly 2 CT techs. But that's all the help you get. Yeah, the machine is stationary and you don't take the machine anywhere. But at the same time, when you get these heavy patients, or say you're in the ER and you're by yourself, you have to go get your own patient, bring your old patient back. Sometimes you have, radiology assistant techs that get your patients and all that, but most of the time you don't. So in radiology, which is cool, is that you always have that help during the day. 2:30 to 11, yeah, the help kind of slenders a little bit, but when you work overnight, you're usually by yourself. But overnight, you really don't need too much help. And I can be lying. I haven't worked overnight in a long time, but the overnight I did work, it was in a small hospital, so I didn't need 2 people. But overnight in bigger hospitals, you might need 2 people. But budget cuts and all that always hinders a factor, right? But for the most part, in radiology, there's always 5 or 6 techs. So if, say, you have 5 portables, 6 portables to go do, you always have another tech to go help you. So that's pretty cool. So hey guys, those are the pros and cons on radiology, like if I regret going to radiology school. Now these are 3 bonuses that I want to give you guys, just so you can kind of like understand, like, there's other options, not just radiology, if you want to go into it, right? So this is one. PTA, physical therapy assistant. I personally think this is super cool because the work-life balance is cool. You usually only work 9 to 5. You don't have to ever worry about working overnight, working on call, anything of that nature. So that's pretty cool. 2-year program, and they come out making $25-30 an hour, which is doable. 90% of the time, it's not about how much money you make, it's about how you spend your money. But you want to have a good career, right? You want to make, decent money. So I think that's pretty cool. The cool thing about PTA too is that you can work in a few places. You can work hospitals, imaging centers, recovery centers, home health. Like, there's so many areas you can work at, which is super cool. So that's why I threw that in there. The other one would be billing and coding. Billing and coding is something that has become super popular. Again, a 2-year program. The cool thing about it too is you can work from home. You can work at the hospital. You're not essential, which means that if the hospital closes down for, God forbid, another COVID episode or something comes along, you're not in the line of fire that you have to be like, oh, we need you at the hospital because you got to take care of patients. No, your job is to try to reimburse the hospital to make good money, to make our money back, So billing and coding is super cool because anything you can work from home, to me, is awesome, So that's something to think about. And the third one is nursing, RN. Yeah, I know. Nobody wants to be a nurse, or everybody wants to be a nurse. But you have to understand, guys, that nursing is, once you become a nurse, you're honestly set for life. And the reason I say that is because there's so many avenues, so many things you can do. There's so many opportunities when you become an RN that you will never, ever have in radiology. And I say that respectfully because I love my career, I respect my career, but we don't have the opportunities that nurses have. So for instance, like just an example, you go to RN school and you're like, you know what, we're gonna start you on the 5th floor because you're new, whatever, we want to get you situated. Okay, cool. All right, and 6 months you're like, hey, I want to work with kids. Okay, cool, you can work with kids. Hey, and another 6 months, be like, hey, I want to go to the ER, I want to try the ER. Okay, cool, go ahead, go to the ER. Your license, RN license, approves you. It gives you that flexibility to do that. Like I said in radiology, you can't just go from step to step. Like you can't go from radiology to CT to MRI that easily because it comes with registries. You have to do registries. You have to pass a registry before you can move to another department. And nursing, there's none of that. As long as you become an RN, you can work and do anything. You can work in hospitals, home health. You can work from home, working for insurance companies, answering questions. You can even move up and become a nurse practitioner. Then you'll be the person ordering x-rays, So there's so many avenues you can go. And, like, for instance, too, like I said, with the growth, right? For radiology, there's not growth. For nursing, man, every single floor has a director. Nursing floor 1 is a director. Nursing floor 2 has a director. There's so many opportunities for growth and management and nursing that is ridiculous. So there you go, guys. Anyway, I hope that this video helped you guys. I know it's pretty long, a lot of information on here, but I try to give you the best information possible. I try to help you guys to the best of my ability so you can make a good decision for you guys, for you in the future. As always, thank you for watching, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back.